Sir Ahmad Salman Rushdie, FRSL, born the 19th of June 1947, is a British Indian novelist and essayist. His second novel, Midnight's Children, won the Booker Prize in 1981. Much of his fiction is set on the Indian subcontinent. He is said to combine magical realism with historical fiction. His work is concerned with the many connections, disruptions, and migrations between Eastern and Western civilizations. His fourth novel, The Satanic Verses, was the center of a major controversy, provoking protests from Muslims in several countries. Death threats were made against him, including a fatwa calling for his assassination issued by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, the supreme leader of Iran, on 14 February 1989, and as a result he was put under police protection by the British government. Rushdie was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature, Britain's senior literary organisation, in 1983. He was appointed Commander de l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres of France in January 1999. In June 2007, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him for his services to literature. In 2008, The Times ranked him 13th on its list of the 50 greatest British writers since 1945. Since 2000, Rushdie has lived in the United States, where he has worked at Emory University and was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Letters. In 2012, he published Joseph Anton, a memoir, an account of his life in the wake of the controversy over the Satanic Verses. Early life and family background. Rushdie was born in Bombay, then British India, into a Muslim family of Kashmiri descent. He is the son of Anas Ahmed Rushdie, a University of Cambridge-educated lawyer turned businessman, and Negan Bhatt, a teacher. Rushdie has three sisters. He wrote in his 2012 memoir that his father adopted the name Rushdie in honor of Averroes. He was educated at Cathedral and John Connon School in Mumbai, Rugby School in Warwickshire, and King's College, University of Cambridge, where he read history. Career. Copywriter. Rushdie's first career was as a copywriter, working for the advertising agency Ogilvy and Mather, where he came up with Irresistible for Aero and Naughty But Nice for cream cakes, and for the agency Airbarker, for whom he wrote the memorable line, "That'll do nicely," for American Express. It was while he was at Ogilvy that he wrote Midnight's Children, before becoming a full-time writer. Major literary work. Rushdie's first novel, Grimace, a part science fiction tale, was generally ignored by the public and literary critics. His next novel, Midnight's Children, catapulted him to literary notability. This work won the 1981 Booker Prize and, in 1993 and 2008, was awarded the Best of the Bookers as the best novel to have received the prize during its first 25 and 40 years. Midnight's Children follows the life of a child, born at the stroke of midnight as India gained its independence, who is endowed with special powers and a connection to other children born at the dawn of a new and tumultuous age in the history of the Indian subcontinent and the birth of the modern nation of India. The character of Salim Sinai has been compared to Rushdie. However, the author has refuted the idea of having written any of his characters as autobiographical, stating, "People assume that because certain things in the character are drawn from your own experience, it just becomes you. In that sense, I've never felt that I've written an autobiographical character." After Midnight's Children, Rushdie wrote Shame, in which he depicts the political turmoil in Pakistan, basing his characters on Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and General Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq. Shame won France's Prix du Meilleur Livre étranger and was a close runner-up for the Booker Prize. Both these works of post-colonial literature are characterized by a style of magic realism and the immigrant outlook that Rushdie is very conscious of. As a member of the Indian diaspora, Rushdie wrote a non-fiction book about Nicaragua in 1987 called The Jaguar Smile. This book has a political focus and is based on his first-hand experiences and research at the scene of Sandinista political experiments. His most controversial work, The Satanic Verses, was published in 1988. In addition to books, Rushdie has published many short stories, including those collected in East, West, The Moor's Last Sigh, a family epic ranging over some 100 years of India's history, was published in 1995. The Ground Beneath Her Feet presents an alternative history of modern rock music. The song of the same name by U2 is one of many song lyrics included in the book, hence Rushdie is credited as the lyricist. He also wrote Haroun and the Sea of Stories in 1990. Rushdie has had a string of commercially successful and critically acclaimed novels. His 2005 novel Shalimar the Clown received, in India, the prestigious Hutch Crossword Book Award, and was, in Britain, a finalist for the Whitbread Book Awards. It was shortlisted for the 2007 International IMPAC Dublin Literary Award. In his 2002 non-fiction collection Step Across This Line, he professes his admiration for the Italian writer Italo Calvino and the American writer Thomas Pynchon, among others. His early influences included George Louis Borges, Mikhail Bulgakov, Lewis Carroll, Gunter Grass, and James Joyce. Rushdie was a personal friend of Angela Carter's and praised her highly in the foreword for her collection Burning Your Boats. His novel Luca and the Fire of Life was published in November 2010. Earlier that year, he announced that he was writing his memoirs, entitled Joseph Anton, a memoir, which was published in September 2012. In 2012, Salman Rushdie became one of the first major authors to embrace book track, when he published his short story, In the South, on the platform. Other activities: Rushdie has quietly mentored younger Indian writers, influenced an entire generation of Indo-Anglian writers, and is an influential writer in post-colonial literature in general. He has received many plaudits for his writings, including the European Union's Aristian Prize for Literature, the Premio Grinzane Cavour, and the Writer of the Year Award in Germany, and many of literature's highest honors. Rushdie was the president of PEN American Center from 2004 to 2006 and founder of the PEN World Voices Festival. He opposed the British government's introduction of the Racial and Religious Hatred Act. Something he writes about in his contribution to Free Expression is No Offense, a collection of essays by several writers, published by Penguin in November 2005. In 2007 he began a 5-year term as Distinguished Writer-in-Residence at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, where he has also deposited his archives. In May 2008 he was elected a foreign honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Letters. Though he enjoys writing, Salman Rushdie says that he would have become an actor if his writing career had not been successful. Even from early childhood, he dreamed of appearing in Hollywood movies. Rushdie includes fictional television and movie characters in some of his writings. He had a cameo appearance in the film Bridget Jones's Diary, based on the book of the same name, which is itself full of literary in-jokes. On the 12th of May 2006, Rushdie was a guest host on The Charlie Rose Show, where he interviewed Indo-Canadian filmmaker Deepa Mehta, whose 2005 film, Water, faced violent protests. He appears in the role of Helen Hunt's obstetrician-gynecologist in the film adaptation of Eleanor Lipman's novel Then She Found Me, in September 2008, and again in March 2009. He appeared as a panelist on the HBO program Real Time with Bill Maher. Rushdie has said that he was approached for a cameo in Talladega Nights. They had this idea, just one shot in which 3 very, very unlikely people were seen as NASCAR drivers. And I think they approached Julian Schnabel, Lou Reed, and me. We were all supposed to be wearing the uniforms and the helmet, walking in slow motion with the heat haze. In the end their schedules didn't allow for it. Rushdie collaborated on the screenplay for the cinematic adaptation of his novel Midnight's Children with director Deepa Mehta. The film was also called Midnight's Children. Seema Biswas, Shabana Azmi, Nandita Das, and Irfan Khan participated in the film. Production began in September 2010. The film was released in 2012. Rushdie announced in June 2011 that he had written the first draft of a script for a new television series for the U.S. cable network Showtime, a project on which he will also serve as an executive producer. The new series, to be called The Next People, will be, according to Rushdie, a sort of paranoid science fiction series. People disappearing and being replaced by other people. The idea of a television series was suggested by his U.S. agents, said Rushdie, who felt that television would allow him more creative control than feature film. The Next People is being made by the British film production company Working Title, the firm behind such projects as 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Shaun of the Dead. Rushdie is a member of the advisory board of the Lunchbox Fund, a non-profit organization which provides daily meals to students of township schools in Soweto of South Africa. He is also a member of the advisory board of the Secular Coalition for America, an advocacy group representing the interests of atheistic and humanistic Americans in Washington, D.C. In November 2010 he became a founding patron of Ralston College, a new liberal arts college that has adopted as its motto a Latin translation of a phrase from an address he gave at Columbia University in 1991 to mark the 200th anniversary of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.